Hey everyone, here is a tutorial video to walk you through how to finish the super evidence activity, which is Explore 2 from Plate Tectonics. Just a reminder, we've been talking about this frequently in class, but if you're doing this late and you need a reminder of what to do, I just want to remind you that the rule of thumb should always be that you go to SIS to find out what you're missing. You come here to Google Classroom before you go to STEM Scopes. Because remember that STEM Scopes activities were designed to be done in person. A lot of the instructions are written assuming that you and I are face to face, and obviously that's not the case. So when we have to make modifications to the assignments, we have to do it using Google Classroom. So it's always a good idea to come here first. So also just a reminder that the easiest place to find everything is going to be on your classwork tab. When you scroll down, when you get to this classwork page, and it doesn't matter which hour because they're all roughly the same, you will notice that Science Fair takes up the whole screen. So you're going to want to scroll down a little bit to get to the history of Earth stuff. And we are looking at STEM Scopes Plate Tectonics Explore 2. So we're going to click on that. Now, I know yours looks different from mine because you didn't have this part, but the point is that you may have to scroll down because I've tried to be pretty clear about the instructions here. So when in doubt, remember, you should always read these before you do anything else. And then if you're confused, you can always talk to me about it. That's absolutely fine. But you'll notice here it says open the Google Slides document below, rearrange the continents, then log into STEM Scopes and complete the 3 tables there. And then it tells you what to do in each table. So we'll walk through that in just a second. Notice that you don't have to sketch the maps. Then go on and answer the questions below. So the slides assignment it's referring to is this document here. Now I've already opened mine, so I'm going to go there. But you'll want to click on that, get that open, and then this is going to be the link to our page in STEM Scopes. Remember, you cannot just log in at like the main STEM Scopes page. Don't do a search for STEM Scopes and try to log in. That will not work for you. You need to use this login here. Okay, so I'm going to go right now to the slides activity, and just a reminder that it's sometimes easier with these when we have pieces that we have to move around, to go ahead and view it in full screen mode. So you're going to click on view, scroll all the way to the bottom. It just gets rid of some of the stuff at the top. The other thing that you may find is, if you're not used to messing around with shapes in slides like this, is that big ones like Eurasia, you want to be familiar with the order option because you can send it to the back. What tends to happen is like you'll try to click on Africa, and because this layer sort of overlays Africa, you'll end up clicking on Eurasia by mistake. So larger ones you probably want to send to the back. You can always bring it forward again if you need to, but you probably won't need to. All right, so your job here is just to move the continents around so that these bands kind of match up. Okay, so full disclosure, they are not going to fit together exactly like a puzzle. But if you rotate them around and nudge them a little bit, they should fit together to the point where you can see clear kind of patches of things. Now, I'm using a mouse, so I can, actually put my pointer right on that and move it around like that. But if you click on it with your touchpad, you can obviously move it back and forth with your arrow keys. If you hold the Alt button down while you push, it will rotate them slightly. So you can play with that too. Sometimes that's an easier way to go about it. So what you want to do is just start moving these around a little bit. You don't really want to take one continent past another. Like you don't want to move Antarctica way up here. That's obviously that doesn't make sense for the assignment, but it also will mess you up if you're trying to move like India over here somewhere. That's not going to work. You basically want them to be somewhere in the same branch of ocean that they're in to start with. Okay, so I'm gonna move Antarctica around here, and obviously we've talked repeatedly about the fact that South America and Africa seem to fit together. They don't fit together perfectly, but they seem to fit together better than than most continents do, which is what was the big tip-off in the first place when it came to Wigner's continental drift theory. Now, if you've already done this part and yours doesn't look exactly like mine, that is actually okay. That's completely fine. It's not important that they look exactly the same. It is important that the rock formations kind of line up. And again, they are not going to fit together like a puzzle. So if you're trying to get yours to fit together perfectly, you will be frustrated. Try not to, have too strong expectations and that sort of thing. And then I'm going to move North America down here so that the black can kind of match up along with that. Maybe I'll tilt this a little bit, just to nudge it in there. Put Spain there in that little bin, in that little bay up there. Okay, so now as you can see, now we can see that these bands may have at one time connected. And again, this goes to the evidence that Wegener used when he was first proposing the idea of continental drift, that we have these rock formations that are pretty specific, and yet they seem to be spread across continents that in the modern map are really spread apart. Okay, so on the map, in addition to your continents, you have this little scroll down here that tells you how many millions of years ago we're looking at, but also what the names of these bands of evidence are. Okay, so what this is implying is that geologists that have studied the rocks in these regions have found these fossils or this kind of shale on these two continents. So when you go to actually do the assignment, this is going to be what you consider to be your data. Okay, so once you've got this one done, you can go on. This one's 150 million years ago, so you're going to move those around, try to get those to match up as best you can. And then same with this one. Okay, so that part's fairly straightforward. Then you're going to go after you've done that, and actually, I'll tell you what, I'm going to show you what my final product looked like. It does not have to be exactly the same as yours. Let's see, there's my final. But it's helpful for doing the next part of this. So I'm going to restore that version. And that actually, just a reminder too, that can help you too. So if you're accidentally messing around and you hit the delete key, or you kind of notice somehow that something is missing and you don't know exactly where it was, you can go to your version history here, or you can go to File and then version history here, and you can backtrack through your edits to find out where stuff got lost. So, okay, so I'm going to move this over now and make this about half my screen. On your Chromebooks, you should be able to use the Alt and the bracket keys to split your screen, but on mine, I have to do it manually. So, because I don't have a Chromebook. All right. So once you have these, I find it's really helpful with these assignments to just have these two things faced, side by side like this. It'll make it a whole lot easier for you to see what you're doing and cut down on some of the clicking back and forth. Now, again, the assignment is going to have these directions up here. You're not going to be able to do these because this is, again, assuming that we're doing this face to face. And StemScopes doesn't give me the option to change this, so I have no way of getting rid of that. So sorry about that. But when you come down to this data table, you'll notice I've already filled some of these in as an example that we did in class. But when you come back here to Google Classroom on the assignment, you'll notice that I actually did explain here for you to refer to so that you'll know what goes in each one. So in the data column, which is this first column, you're going to put the name of the evidence formation. So that's the name that's in this little key down here on each of your maps. Okay. And it's not important that you list them in the same order, but just make sure that they're all there for each map. And then in the second one column here, you're going to type the type of evidence. The type of evidence is either going to say rock or it will be fossil. Okay, now a fossil is always going to either say fossil or it'll be a fossil fuel, which is oil, coal, or gas. Anything that doesn't either say fossil and isn't oil, coal, or gas is a rock. Okay, so we will come back here and take a look at that. And then the importance is which continents does this formation join? So as you can see here, I took the Triassic shale, that's this one here, and I typed it right there. And since that doesn't say fossil, it is not a coal, it is not oil or natural gas, I know that it's a rock. So I put a rock evidence. And then I listed the two continents that have that red band on it. So this is North America, this is Eurasia. So we know that because that shale appears on both of those, that those two are probably joined in some way at some time. So the importance is that it joins North America and Eurasia. The Glycerasaurus fossils, that's this blue patch down here. Notice that it matches the blue here in the key. So I wrote Glycerasaurus fossils there. I put the fact that it is fossil evidence, since that should be pretty obvious. And then finally, I said that it joins South America, Africa, Australia, and Antarctica. Okay. Now, just a reminder that as you're filling this out, you're going to want to click Save often. One thing that's kind of tricky with the tables in StemScopes is that sometimes you'll find you can't click inside these for whatever reason. So when that happens, if you're trying to put something in here and you find the cursor doesn't appear like it should, click Save right away. Try again. If it doesn't work, then refresh the page. The only way you will not lose what you do here on a refresh is if you've actually clicked Save in between. So make sure that you're always clicking Save. All right, you're going to do that. You're going to fill in, do the halide deposits next, and then the Triassic coal for this one. You're going to complete that part of the chart. You're going to scroll down here, and it's going to ask you to sketch your map. Now, as I've indicated here in Google Classroom, you do not need to sketch your maps in STEMscope, so you can skip this field. And it's fine that that's not complete. That's why you're doing this here, so that you don't have to do that there, because this is kind of a clumsy editor. So then you're going to scroll down here. It's going to ask you for the same thing, but this time using the 150 million years ago map. So you're going to make sure that one is all nestled together like it should be. And then you're going to go through and start listing off each one of these formations and where they're found. Okay. And then, once again, you're going to skip this sketch. You're going to do the same thing again for the 100 million years ago map. And same thing, you're going to go through and list these things out. Now, the one thing you will notice about the 100 million years ago map is that there are 6 formations listed in the key, but only 4 in the table. That isn't a mistake, okay? So one of them is that one of these deposits actually doesn't appear in the map, and one of these deposits does not show 2 land formations joining. It is just located in the middle of a land continent and is not shared by another one. So those are the 2 you want to skip. I am not going to tell you in this video which ones those are because I know you're smart. I'm sure you'll figure them out. So one doesn't appear on the map at all. One doesn't join 2 continents, okay? So after you've completed those tables, so these tables do need to be complete, you need to come down here and answer. There's 11 questions that all talk about these maps and whether you saw things change, what evidence you have to support that the continents are far apart. Please, put a little bit of thought into this. These do not need to be paragraphs. A sentence should suffice for all of these. Finally, at the end, there's a claim evidence reasoning that yes, you are expected to do. Now, in class, we did this together. Okay, we did this together on day 8. So if you don't have this filled out yet, for whatever reason, then you're going to want to go back to your Google Classroom and you're going to want to find the slides for day 8, which are posted. So notice that it says here, if you click on this, that these are where we reviewed our maps and the CER for Explorer 2 Super Evidence, which was due on that day. And we talked about what Earth might look like in the future. So when you click on these slides and open them up, there are slides where we talk specifically about what goes in each one of these categories. So I'm going to let you do that on your own. And then that's it. Now, as always with STEM scopes, you want to make sure when you're done, and especially if you've partially screened it, that you spread it out and you go to turn in the assignment when it's complete. If you don't turn it in, I can't grade it. So you need to make sure that you get that part done too as well. All right, if you have any questions, please let me know. Hope everybody has a great holiday. And I will be checking email, so email me if you need anything. Thanks.